I'm gonna tell you a story.
Hi there, friends. We all know well about the Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union. But have you ever heard anything about how ordinary soldiers of the Soviet Army and the United States Armed Forces treated each other during World War II? Today, I will tell you about a Russian veteran of the American Army who caught an amazing moment of a friendly meeting between East and West, the USSR and the United States. Igor Belousovich was born in Shanghai to a family of Russian immigrants who came to China after the revolution in Russia in 1917. The family then moved to San Francisco, a beautiful and wonderful city. Then thousands of Russians lived there, and everyone settled nearby. Over time, Igor became American, but as he said, with a double personality. When he entered the University of California, the war broke out. He was sent to New York to study as a military translator. But he didn't complete these courses either, and ended up in the 273rd Rifle Company of the 69th U.S. Infantry Division. The following is an excerpt from his interview with a Russian newspaper. At the end of 1944, our company was transferred first to England, then to the front near the Belgian-German border. There was a real war. The Germans were attacking in the Ardennes. Then there was a breakthrough, and our units began to rapidly advance across Germany to the east. The last military action for me was the capture of Leipzig. Our regiment withdrew to the south, stopped near the Mulde River. This is a tributary of the Elbe River. Parts of the Red Army were somewhere on the other side of the Elbe. We stood for several days. Everyone was very careful. Just imagine, if we hadn't identified each other and started a firefight, it would have been a big nuisance. Finally, when 3 patrols were being formed, which were supposed to make contact, someone in the command of the regiment remembered that there was a soldier in one of the companies who knew Russian language. I was called and assigned to a patrol of about 20 people. Early in the morning of April 25, we crossed the bridge of a Mulde in jeeps. Our task was to make contact with Soviet units. There were also 2 small patrols of several people. The commander of the Soviet detachment told which road to go to the Elbe and the town of Torgau. I was the only one who spoke both languages and translated. Then the horsemen drove their way to Dresden, and we got to the Elbe, where the Soviet units organized something like a ferry. We were greeted by a group of officers, including the commander of the 58th Guards Division, General Vladimir Rusakov. I understood that this was a historical moment. It stayed with me for the rest of my life, sometimes reminding me of itself in the most unexpected form. By the way, the Russians have always respected this date. In Washington, D.C., there is a memorial sign to commemorate the meeting on the Elbe at Arlington Cemetery. And every year, the Russian embassy invites to a wreath-laying ceremony and hosts a reception for veterans. Few of Americans had an idea of the Soviet Union, although of course they knew about the bloody battles on the Eastern Front. There was no Cold War then. Although we spoke different languages, the meeting was very friendly. Everyone clapped each other on the shoulders and smiled. There were no serious negotiations. And I was translated again. We were fed and drunk. We spent the night visiting residents. In the morning, I had a severe headache, and the next day we returned back to the location of our units. 2 weeks later, a small ceremony was held in Leipzig and a parade with the participation of Soviet and American units. American and Soviet generals awarded each other. Everyone wanted to keep some souvenirs. We were interested in stars from caps with a hammer and sickle, but most importantly, my memory and photographs remained with me. The film was later developed at our command headquarters, and to my surprise, both the negatives and the pictures were returned to me. 2 weeks later, the war in Europe ended. For some time, our unit organized the movement of migrants who went on foot to the west, and after 2 or 3 months, we were sent to the rear, returned home, and it was all over. Well, here is such an interesting story of a Russian veteran of the American Armed Forces, and despite that Igor Belousovich speaks Russian with a strong English accent, but for me, as a Russian person, it was very interesting to listen and read his memories. Friends, if you are interested in the topic of war, write down below and I will gladly share with you some other Russian-Soviet stories about the World War.